Hello friends, welcome to our channel. If you want to learn English through stories and enjoy listening to interesting and meaningful stories, then you are in the right place. We bring you inspiring stories every day that will make you think and reflect. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an exciting new story. We are here to fill your day with positivity and wisdom through the power of storytelling. So, sit back, relax, and dive into today's story. Let's begin the video. The Ant and the Grasshopper. In a meadow filled with tall grasses and wildflowers of every hue, a small, diligent ant lived. The sun hung high in the sky, casting a golden glow over the land. The gentle breeze swirled the petals of flowers, and the air was filled with the songs of birds. The landscape looked peaceful, and the meadow was alive with the bustle of creatures, large and small. Despite the idyllic beauty surrounding it, the ant was focused only on one thing: work. It had a tiny underground home near the base of a large oak tree. This home, although small, was perfect for the ant's needs. It had several rooms, each one used to store different kinds of food, grains, seeds, and bits of fruit. The ant had spent weeks preparing for the coming winter, knowing that once the cold arrived, food would become harder to find. Every day, the ant would wake at the first light of dawn. Its tiny legs would scurry across the ground, moving with purpose. It would gather grains from the nearby wheat fields, pick seeds from the flowers, and collect pieces of fruit that had fallen from the trees. Each load was carefully carried back to the ant's burrow, one grain at a time, one seed at a time. The task was exhausting, but the ant did not mind. It was focused, knowing that its hard work would ensure it had enough food to survive the winter. As the days passed, the warm sunlight that filled the meadow began to fade. The days grew shorter, and the once lush, green grass began to wither and turn yellow. The air, once warm and inviting, now carried a chill. The ant knew that winter was drawing closer, and so it worked even harder. Every corner of the ant's home needed to be filled with food, every tunnel secured against the coming frost. Meanwhile, not far from the ant's burrow, there lived a grasshopper. The grasshopper was a carefree creature, content to live for the moment. It spent its days basking in the sun, its green body glistening in the light. The meadow was a playground for the grasshopper, a place where it could sing, dance, and enjoy the warmth of the day. Unlike the ant, the grasshopper never worried about the future. There was always plenty of food around, and the weather was always warm. At least, that's what the grasshopper believed. One bright afternoon, the grasshopper noticed the ant scurrying along the path, carrying another load of grain to its home. The grasshopper tilted its head curiously, watching the ant's hurried movements. It didn't understand why the ant was working so hard. Why waste time on such a task? The grasshopper thought. The days are long and the sun is warm. There is so much life to enjoy. As the grasshopper thought about this, it made its way over to the ant. With a cheerful hop, the grasshopper landed on a nearby rock and called out, "Hey, little ant. Why are you working so hard? Come, take a break and enjoy the sunshine. There's plenty of time to prepare for the winter later. The weather is beautiful now. Why not relax and have some fun?" The ant paused for a moment, lifting its head to look at the grasshopper. It had been focused on its task, but the grasshopper's words caught its attention. The ant observed the grasshopper sitting lazily in the sun, its fiddle resting by its side, and a carefree smile on its face. The ant responded, "I cannot stop now. Winter is coming, and I must gather food. Once the cold arrives, Food will become scarce, and I need to make. As the days passed, the warm summer sun began to grow weaker. The once vibrant green grasses turned yellow and dry, and the trees began to shed their leaves. The air, once full of the sweet scent of flowers, now had a crisp edge to it. The first signs of autumn had arrived. The ant knew that the time to gather food was running out. The ant worked even harder, hauling larger loads of food into its burrow. It didn't take breaks, only pausing to drink from a nearby stream before continuing its task. The ant's home, once small and humble, now had several chambers filled with food, more than enough to survive the winter months. Meanwhile, the grasshopper's carefree lifestyle continued. It spent the afternoons playing its fiddle, enjoying the warmth of the remaining sun. It danced in the meadow, oblivious to the changes around it. While the ant worked tirelessly, the grasshopper spent the days in leisure, never once thinking about the future. One day, the grasshopper grew curious about the ant's unyielding work ethic. It decided to visit the ant again, hopping over to the entrance of the ant's burrow. The grasshopper, with its usual carefree attitude, greeted the ant with a smile. "Hey there, little ant. Why don't you come out and join me today? I've got some great tunes to play on my fiddle. You've been working nonstop. Don't you think it's time to relax and enjoy life?" The ant looked up from its work, its tiny legs tired from carrying heavy loads of grain. It glanced over at the grasshopper, who was sitting comfortably in the sun, its fiddle in hand. The grasshopper's carefree nature seemed so different from the ant's determined focus. "I can't join you right now," the ant replied. "There's still much to be done. The winter is coming, and I must prepare. It's hard work, but it's necessary." The grasshopper, sensing that the ant was still focused on its task, said, "You're missing out on life, you know. Come, just for today, leave your work behind and join me. The world is full of beauty, and you should enjoy it." The ant paused for a moment. It glanced at the grasshopper, wondering what it might be like to leave its task behind for a day. But then, remembering the long winter that was fast approaching, the ant shook its head. "No, I must finish my work," the ant said. "Winter will be here soon, and I can't afford to waste time. I've made a commitment to be prepared, and I intend to see it through." The grasshopper sighed. "You're always so serious, my friend. Well, if you're too busy to have fun, I guess I'll just have to keep playing by myself." The days grew shorter and colder. The first snowflakes began to fall, covering the ground in a soft blanket of white. The once vibrant meadow was now quiet and still, with only the sound of the wind rustling through the bare branches of trees. The grasshopper, who had never bothered to prepare for the winter, now found itself struggling. Its food had run out, and the cold was beginning to seep into its body. The grasshopper tried to find shelter, but the cold wind made it difficult to find any warmth. The ground was frozen, and the insects that had once thrived in the meadow were now hidden underground or nestled in their burrows. The grasshopper shivered as it hopped from one patch of snow to another, looking desperately for food. But there was none to be found. The once lively meadow now seemed barren and lifeless. The grasshopper's carefree attitude had led it to this point, unprepared, hungry, and cold. Feeling weak and exhausted, the grasshopper thought of the ant. Perhaps the ant, with its well-stocked burrow, would have food to spare. The grasshopper made its way across the snow, its steps slow and heavy. It reached the ant's burrow and knocked gently on the door. "Ant, ant," the grasshopper called out. "Please help me. I have nothing to eat, and I have no shelter. I was foolish, and now I am cold and hungry. I beg of you, let me in. Share some of your food with me." As the days grew warmer and the meadow came back to life, the ant and the grasshopper spent more time outside, enjoying the lush greenery and the abundant sunshine. The trees began to sprout new leaves, and flowers bloomed in every corner of the meadow. The grasshopper, who had once lived only for the moment, now had a deeper understanding of life's cycles. It had learned the value of work and preparation, and it was ready to apply this new knowledge to the future. One morning, the grasshopper smiled and waved to the ant. "Hello, my friend. How are you today?" The ant paused and looked up, its tiny antennae twitching. "I'm doing well, thank you. I've been gathering food for the summer months ahead. It's never too early to prepare." The grasshopper nodded, remembering the lessons of the past winter. "I understand now, ant. I used to think that life was all about enjoying the moment, but I see now that there's more to it than that. I've learned that work is important, and preparation is key. I'll make sure to balance my life better from now on." The ant smiled, pleased with the grasshopper's growth. "I'm glad to hear that, grasshopper. You've come a long way. It's good to enjoy life, but it's also important to be ready for whatever challenges may come. We must always find a balance." The grasshopper thought for a moment and then asked, "Do you think I'll be able to handle the future now? I mean, with all the lessons I've learned, can I be as prepared as you?" The ant considered this carefully before answering. "I think you're on the right path. The future is uncertain, but with hard work and planning, you'll be ready for whatever comes. Just remember, life isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving." And thriving means taking care of yourself, your loved ones, and the world around you. You have the tools now to live a fulfilling and balanced life. The grasshopper's heart swelled with gratitude. It felt stronger now, not just in body but in spirit. It knew that it could face any challenge that lay ahead. With the lessons it had learned, the grasshopper was no longer the carefree creature it had once been. It was wiser, more thoughtful, and more prepared for whatever the future might hold. As the weeks passed, the grasshopper and the ant continued their work and play, each one contributing to the harmony of the meadow. The grasshopper spent its days helping the ant gather food, building up a new stockpile for the coming months, and occasionally taking time to play its fiddle when the work was done. It had learned to appreciate both the work and the rest, and it no longer took either for granted. The ant, too, had found a new sense of peace. While it had always been diligent and focused on preparing for the future, it had come to appreciate the grasshopper's carefree attitude. The grasshopper had taught the ant the importance of enjoying the present, of taking moments to appreciate the beauty of life and the world around them. The ant now took occasional breaks, stepping out into the meadow to listen to the grasshopper's music and to enjoy the warmth of the sun. The two friends, once so different in their approaches to life, had found a way to complement each other. Together, they created a balance between work and play, between preparation and enjoyment, that allowed them to thrive in the ever-changing world of the meadow. One day, as autumn approached once again, the two friends stood side by side, watching the leaves turn golden and fall gently to the ground. The air had a crispness to it, and the first signs of the coming winter were beginning to show. The grasshopper and the ant both knew that it was time to prepare once more for the cold months ahead. The grasshopper turned to the ant and said, "It feels like just yesterday we were talking about the winter that came and went. But now, I see that we're ready. We've both worked hard, and now we can enjoy the fruits of our labor." The ant nodded, its small legs busy as it organized its stores of food. Yes, the cycles of life are always changing. We can't stop them, but we can prepare for them. And we can enjoy each season for what it is. The grasshopper smiled, strumming a few notes on its fiddle. You're right. Ant life is a series of seasons, each one bringing its own challenges and joys. The key is knowing how to embrace each one, to work when it's time to work, and to enjoy when it's time to enjoy. The two friends stood together, watching the golden sunset paint the sky with vibrant hues of orange and pink. The meadow, once again, was filled with life. Though the days were growing shorter, the lessons learned in the past year would stay with them for a lifetime. And so, the ant and the grasshopper continued their journey, side by side, each one carrying its own lessons and wisdom into the future. Together, they showed that life is not just about surviving the seasons but learning how to live through them with grace and balance. The story of the ant and the grasshopper teaches us that life is a delicate balance between work and play, between preparation and enjoyment. While it is important to work hard and prepare for the future, it is equally important to take time to enjoy the present moment. In times of difficulty, we can look back on our hard work and find comfort in knowing that we are prepared for whatever comes our way. Through hard work, discipline, and a little bit of play, we can thrive in every season of life. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed today's story and found it meaningful. If you learned something new or were inspired, make sure to like this video and share it with your friends. We love bringing you fresh, exciting stories every day to brighten your day and spark your imagination. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell, so you never miss an update. We'll be back with more amazing stories for you. Until then, stay inspiring and keep learning. See you in the next video.